Your bank says the loan costs 4% per year. Excel says it costs 5%. So now, who do you trust? Today I will show you how to calculate the real cost of a bank loan using Excel with one simple function, IRR, internal rate of return. And once you know how to do it, maybe you will never look at a bank contract the same way again. So let's start after our intro. Let's start with the problem. Banks love to talk about nominal annual rate and APR, which is the effective annual percentage rate. Sound scientific, right? But here's the trick. Those numbers don't always reflect the real cash flow you are dealing with. For example, maybe the bank charges you an opening fee, or maybe they deduct insurance cost, or again, maybe the repayment schedule is uneven. Nominal interest rate and APR may look clean and polished in the brochure, but Excel doesn't read brochure. Excel reads numbers. And the function that cuts through all the fine print is the IRR. IRR simply says, what is the annual rate that makes the present value of my loan equal to 0? Considering every inflow and every outflow. So, in other words, it tells you the real cost of your loan. Let's look at an example. Suppose you borrow $10,000 from your bank to be repaid over 3 years with fixed payments of $3,600 per year. The bank advertises an annual interest rate of about 3.94%. But in reality, you don't actually receive the full $10,000. The bank deducts $200 as an opening fee, so what lands in your account is only $9,800. On top of that, each installment comes with a $15 collection fee. So the real cash flows look like this. At year 0 plus $9,800, what you actually receive, and then for year 1, 2 and 3 you have to repay $3,615 per year. Now the question is, what's the real interest rate of this loan? Let's open Excel and do this together. Step 1, in column A, write the years 0, 1, 2 and 3. Then in column B, write the cash flow plus 9,800 and minus $3,615 per year. Just remember, money you receive is positive, money you pay is negative. And now, apply the formula IRR, internal rate of return, from the first inflow to the last outflow. And here is the result, 5.24% per year. Now, think about this. A bank may advertise your loan at, say, 4%, but when you factor in fee and real cash flow, the cost jumps to 5.24%. That's the number that matters. So why is IRR better than the nominal interest rate? Because IRR doesn't care about how the bank decides to present its numbers. It looks at reality and what you actually receive and what you actually pay. Thus, if there is an opening fee, it isn't there. If there is an insurance charge, it is in there. So IRR turns your entire loan into one clean number, the effective annual cost. Remember, banks give you nominal, Excel gives you the truth. So now, before you go running to plug in your numbers, let me give you a few warnings. First, signs errors. Remember, inflows positive and outflow negative. Mix that up and Excel will give you a nonsense result. Forgetting fees. Don't just put the installments. If you pay an upfront fee, you have to subtract it from the initial inflow. And again, multiple IRRs. If your cash flows change sign multiple times, for example, positive, negative, Excel produce more than one IRR. That's because mathematically, IRR is the solution to a polynomial equation, the discount rate that makes the net present value equal to 0. If your cash flow only changes sign once, like a typical bank loan, where you receive money at the start and then pay installments, the IRR is unique. But if your cash flow changes sign more than once, then the equation can produce multiple IRRs. That's why professional analysts sometimes prefer the modifier IRR, which assumes a constant reinvestment rate for positive cash flows and gives you a single clean number. But don't be scared too much. For loans with regular repayments, you are usually safe. Just be aware of that. So now, why you should care? Because when you negotiate a loan, you are not negotiating numbers on a glossy brochure. You are negotiating cash flows. IRR is your weapon. It lets you compare loan A from bank X versus loan B from bank Y. Or even, is this bank loan cheaper or more expensive than, for example, raising equity? It levels the playing field. And believe me, nothing makes a banker more uncomfortable than a client who says, your APR says 4%, my Excel says 5%. Let's talk about that. That's when they know they are dealing with someone who actually understands money. Let's wrap this up. Today we'll learn what IRR really is, the true effective interest rate, how to calculate it in Excel step by step, and why it matters more than the numbers the bank advertises. So, before signing with a bank, sign into Excel. If you found this useful, hit the like button and subscribe, because here we don't just learn finance, we use it to make smarter decisions. See you in the next week.